On 32 FM 94.9.
Good morning, welcome to the Podium on 32 FM 94.9. My name is OLORUNTOBA YUSUF. Good to have you join us on the conversation this morning. Now, the rising cost of living across Africa has triggered a wave of protests in recent months, underscoring the disproportionately high economic and social cost of inflation on a continent with widespread poverty and heightened vulnerability to global volatility. Now, the world, it seems, is now living through a tale of two inflations. Everywhere across the continent, countries are entering into debt restructuring agreement, taking loans from the World Bank and IMF, also looking the way of China and Russia just to survive economically. Initially, the current inflation cycle, a product of pandemic supply shocks and escalating geopolitical tensions, affected developed and developing countries alike. But inflationary pressures have become less effective over time. While price growth has fallen sharply in advanced economies, it remains very high, especially here in Africa. Some say it's a leadership deficiency that is responsible for the continent's economic and political crisis. Some say, well, it's because of pre-colonial and colonial legacy on the continent. Well, the former President Olusegun Obasanjo had an exclusive interview sometime during the week, and he talked about the efficiency of leadership, not just in Africa, he says globally. He compares it to the 20th century, the kind of leaders that the world had at the time. He talked about the global crisis we are facing, insecurity, and all kinds of division in different parts of the world. For him, it's not just in Africa, but it's a global problem. He says there is a leadership deficit across the world. Let's listen to an excerpt of that interview.
I will say generally, at this point in time, there's deficit of leadership in the world. There's global deficit of leadership. Otherwise, the situation that we found ourselves, I would say more or less since the beginning of this century, but particularly in the third decade of this century, should not have been the position the world will be. Globally, we are in a flux. The world is fractured. There is no assured peace or security anywhere. How can we really get government of the people, by the people, for the people? And in our own culture and tradition, we don't have opposition. We go for consensus. Yes. We sit down, we talk. We go for consensus. And when we reach consensus, I didn't want a third term. But as I have said, I know some governors who are working for this. Look, getting debt relief is much more difficult than getting a third term. Getting a third term wouldn't involve me going to France, England, and America, and Japan, and Italy, and Germany to virtually beg.
Yeah, well, except from that interview, the former president spoke about a wide range of issues, including leadership crisis across the world. Let's kickstart the conversation on that note. Let's join our panelists this morning before we connect with our guests for the day. Professor Iyede of the University of Ibadan, Department of Political Science. Prof, good morning, sir. Good to have you.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be with you this beautiful morning.
Morning, sir. I also have Barrister Yomi Ogunlola as well. Barrister, good morning, sir.
Oh, Toba, good morning. Prof, good morning. And how was that rain yesterday? I hope it didn't catch you outside.
No, it was quite a heavy one.
Wonderful. quite heavy. I hope Cocoa House is still standing.
Of course.
Yes, sir.
Solid as ever. As solid as ever. Solid as ever. All
I
right.
think the surrounding environment has been upgraded, right?
Yeah, it has. It has.
Oh yes.
It
Oh
has.
yes.
Prof, you should come down
yes.
sometime. You should come down. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay.
yes. Let's begin the conversation very quickly, Prof. I mean, let me start with you. You heard an excerpt of that interview. Former president says it's a global problem. He tries to compare it with the 20th century. If you look at what is happening now, the kind of leaders we have now across the world, it says there is a deficit. They are not as viable as what we had back then. Maybe he's comparing it to the days of Ronald Reagan, the former U.S. president, the days of Gorbachev, Margaret Thatcher. Maybe that's a comparison he's making, Prof.
Yeah, I think one great historian described those periods as interesting times. With human beings, it is when crises occur that you see the stuff that people are made of in the way they handle the crisis and so on. I think that Obasanjo is not the first person to make this statement. There are those who have talked about the absence of great leadership in the world that we are in now. But for me, I don't think that we don't have a crisis, even though economists have argued that poverty levels have increased, have reduced across the world in many continents of the world, except probably in Africa. But I think the point is that we don't have opportunities for that kind of good leadership because of the dominant ideology in the world, which for me is neoliberalism, that increasingly rolls back the state, and it is within the state system that such leadership is often demonstrated. But within the non-state system, especially in the private sector, you can see there are great leaders in the sense that you have people who have become billionaires and trillionaires. I think they're saying Elon Musk will become the first trillionaire either this month, November or December. So if you have a neoliberal system, it means that leadership is supposed to be seen in the mega profits of the private sector. And that's why we record that phenomenon of the first trillionaire in dollars. I think it's the ideology, basically. And if the ideology was such that recognized the use of political power for transformation, we would have had better results and we would have seen great leadership emerging within the system.
Yeah, so, but still staying with you, Prof. He says the world is far more fragmented than it was, back then. The level of insecurity, the crises everywhere, that we don't have the right leadership to manage these things as they did, during the 20th century.
Yes, I think that it's also because there's no call to leadership now. And that's the point I'm making, that the dominant ideology now says roll back the state. So what leads the world at that time? It's the emergence of the welfare system across the world, where the state is responsible for reducing inequality, for guaranteeing employment, for guaranteeing peace. So until the mode of thought, because again, all of these things are products of thought. Until the mode of thought changes, because I really don't think that the people of that period are of a better quality than the people of this period.
Yeah.
I think it is the values, which is often informed by the ideological goals of society, that defines the orientation of leadership. The orientation of current leadership is not to use the state, to transform society. It's to roll back the state and allow the market system to run. So it's a different kind of capitalism. I think that's the bottom line.
Okay.
Remember that those leadership, for instance, we're talking about reducing. Remember, if you want to understand this thing, go back and read The Great Transformation by 𝐃𝐈𝐒. You get the picture that we're talking about. They argued against the problem of laissez-faire capitalism as the source of the crisis of capitalism and the mass poverty in the preceding century. And they thought that with Keynesian economics and all of that, the idea is that the state has to play a fundamental role. And those were the age of planning. Nobody says leave everything to the market. They say society has to be planned, political power has to be used for the welfare of society, and the private sector to be reined in to, and that's why you have the emergence of labor market institutions, the International Labour Organization, the recognition of the labor unions, and so on and so forth, which led to the progress and prosperity of society and the reduction of inequality. But we have reversed those basic principles, emphasizing the market and then we are paying very little attention to inequality. We are counting how many billionaires are from Nigeria. Who is the richest man in the world? How many billionaires do you have in China compared to the United States? So once you start using that as indicators of progress, you are not taking in terms of how far as in.
Oh, Prof. Hello, Prof.
Been reduced. Only in this specific society that you have leaders who are committed to all those things, like in India, in China, in Singapore, that you begin to see great leadership. So, for instance, we will say that there's no great leadership in Singapore. We won't say there are no great leaders in India. We won't say they don't have great leaders in China. Are we saying there's no great leader in Russia? I mean, these things. So we can talk about where there are no great leaders are often those societies that are pursuing neoliberal agenda. And of course, the leaders you have mentioned, whether it's Thatcher or Ronald Reagan, these are the people who actually started rolling back the state, who replaced, welfare state with the market neoliberal system.
Yeah.
So I think it's the product of this neoliberal system that we're talking about. But when you now look at states who are still committed to transforming their society, you see you can point to great leaders. I'm sure if you go to India, they will name the leaders that have carried out the great transformation that has occurred in India in the last 20 years. Or you go to United Arab Emirates, you have great leaders there. So I think it depends on where Obasanjo is actually looking. Because initially I was just looking also at the West. But when you look beyond the West, you begin to see that there's actually no global absence of great leaders. But what has happened is that it is the West that is actually suffering that absence of great leadership. And because the West has dominated the world, that's why it's looking as if it's a characteristic of the current moment.
Yeah,
I think that we have to qualify Obasanjo's statement.
Yes.
If you look beyond the West.
Certainly. Let me go to Barrister. Maybe those names that Prof mentioned are not seen as quote unquote good leaders, because some of them can be described again as dictators. So for you to be labeled as a good leader, you have to be seen as that from the spectrum of what the West defines as a democratic leader. I don't know if you understand my line of argument, Barrister. Hello, Barrister?
Yes. Thank you very much, Toba. This is a very, very good question. I think I agree with OBJ on the death of good leadership. Probably this was what Karl Marx referred to when he said eventually the contradictions of the capital mode of production would eventually choke it. That is, the inherent contradictions within the capital mode of production.
Right.
Now,
Barrister, please hold that thought, sir. Please hold that thought, sir.
Yes.
We need to go on this break. Please hold that thought. We'll be back in a moment. Don't go away.
Stay tuned to 32 FM 94.9.
Oṣù mẹ́fà ẹ bá mi dúpẹ́. Oṣù mẹ́fà ẹ bá mi dúpẹ́. Ó ti yẹ kóṣù mẹ́fà nìyẹn. Ọmọ ò máa ń pẹ́ dàgbà o. Báyìí o, ọmọ rẹ ti wá nílò ju omi ọyàn nìkan lọ o. Àkókò ti tó láti máa fún un ní oúnjẹ fífọ́. Ní àfikún sí ọyàn, rí i dájú pé àwọn oúnjẹ ọmọ rẹ ní ó kéré tán ọ̀kan lára àwọn oúnjẹ àfọ́pọ̀ márùn-ún wọ̀nyí. Ẹyin, ẹja tàbí ẹran, èso àti ewébẹ̀, epo tàbí òróró, ẹ̀wà, ẹ̀pà tàbí sóyà, ìrẹsì, ọ̀dùnkún, àgbàdo tàbí iṣu. Ọmọ rẹ bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti oṣù mẹ́fà nílò omi ọyàn àtàwọn oúnjẹ wọ̀nyí fún ìdàgbàsókè àti ìlera. Máa fún wọn lọ́yàn títí yóò fi pé ọmọ ọdún 2 àti jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ.
Ìkéde yìí wá láti àkànṣeṣẹ́ INT'L, iléeṣẹ́ tó ń mójútó ètò ìlera ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́.
I'm in love, Sonia tomato mix, stand up. Easy to open, easy to squeeze, easy to scoop and easy to stir.
Sonia tomato mix in a new standard pouch. Dear landed property owner, what if I told you that you could reach out to a radio station to sell your choice of landed properties without paying for adverts? Huh? You must think it's impossible, right? And not just any radio station, a radio station with millions of listeners, so your property can be sold as quickly as possible. Stop doubting Thomas. What's your name again? 32 FM, the laughter station in partnership with Soft Sands Property, is bringing this offer to you. Yes, if you have a house or land in a choice location with appropriate titles and you want it advertised in 32 FM 94.9 Ibadan for quick sales and without paying a cobble, you can call or send a message to this number 091 646 15000 and 091 555 0055. Also, you can visit www.softsandsproperty.com to express your interest. Terms and conditions apply. Soft Sands, created to house the world.
Gẹ́gẹ́ bí aláboyún, ó ṣe pàtàkì kí n tọ́jú ara mi kí n sì wà ní ìlera pípé.
Kí ìwọ àtoyún inú ẹ lè wà ní ìlera tó péye. Máa lo oògùn ẹ̀jẹ̀ tó ní áyọ̀nù nínú àti folic acid lójoojúmọ́ lákòókò tó bá lóyún. Eléyìí ń dènà àìtó ẹ̀jẹ̀ nínú oyún, yóò sì jẹ́ kóyún wà lálàáfíà. Fún ìlera pípé, ẹ máa yọjú sí àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ elétò ìlera yín fún ìtọ́jú oyún nígbà tó yẹ. Ìkéde yìí wá láti àkànṣeṣẹ́ INT'L, iléeṣẹ́ tó ń mójútó ètò ìlera ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́.
Ọ̀rẹ́ mi, irú fóònù yìí ni ìwọ ṣì ń lò ní. Fóònù gidi wù mí náà, ṣùgbọ́n nínú rògbòdìyàn kò sówó yìí, kí ló ti pé kí n ṣe? Àjẹ́ pé mú kí wa kó rere nílẹ̀ Ìbàdàn àti gbogbo àgbègbè rẹ̀. Nítorí rògbòdìyàn àìsówó nílùú níléeṣẹ́ alálùbáríkà tí gbogbo wa ti mọ̀ bí ẹni mọ̀wó, ìyẹn iléeṣẹ́ Real Phones Repair and Unlock Services fi ṣí ẹ̀ka ilé ìtajà London Used Phone lónìrànràn ní èyíkéyìí fóònù tẹ́ bá fẹ́ bíi Huawei, Oppo, Redmi, Vivo àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Ọ̀pọ̀ kú ọ̀yọ̀kú ni wọ́n ń ta àwọn fóònù wọ̀nyí. Tẹ́ bá ń gbọ́ ó pọ̀ ju owó ẹ̀ lọ, ọjà wọn ló ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀. Àǹfààní mìíràn tẹ́ lè jẹ nílé iṣẹ́ Real Phones ni pé guarantee wà lórí ọjà wa tí ó bá yọnu. Ẹ sì tún lè fi pààrọ̀ sí fóònù mìíràn tó bá wù yín. Ilé iṣẹ́ wọn wà ní number 35C Nipos Shopping Complex ládojúkọ Cocoa House nìbàdàn. Gẹ́lẹ́kẹ́ tó wọlé láti kàn wọ́n lẹ́nu géètì. Kété tẹ́ bá tó wọlé tán, ẹ ó kàn wọ́n kúgú lápò ọ̀tún yín. Ẹ tún lè pè wọ́n sórí 0706 436 8169 tàbí 0809 695 7878.
Now every pikin right all over the world to get better education. Now he make the Global Partnership for Education with the support of World Bank shook hands together to see say they reduce out of school pikin for we society as they join hand with Ministry for Education, Science plus Technology for we Oyo State with the project wey dem call Better Education Service Delivery, additional funding, transforming education system for we state. Now e dey important for we parents plus guardians to support these projects as you go land your pikin for any government school across we state as to reduce out of school pikin well. Education na the best legacy you fit give your pikin. This message na from the Global Partnership for Education together with Ministry for Education, Science plus Technology for we Oyo State.
Hey, here's a question for you. What gets you out of bed in the morning? Is it the sunrise? The sound of your alarm? No, it's that dream, that drive, that unstoppable force inside you. And you know what fuels that drive? It's starting your day strong with the rich, creamy taste of Nescafe Original 3-in-1, carefully crafted from selected coffee beans. So, whatever your hustle, go from maybe or I can't to I can and I will. Nescafe Original 3-in-1. Start strong, finish strong.
Wow! Your baby is here! Congratulations!
Do not waste time. Put your baby to breast within the first 1 hour of delivery to give that first yellowish milk colostrum. Colostrum has all the important nutrients your baby needs to start a healthy life. Colostrum also helps to protect your baby against diseases. Remember, put your baby to breast within the first 1 hour of delivery. This message is from the ANRIN Project, Oyo State Ministry of Health.
lọ́kàn ẹni tó fẹ́ talé-talẹ̀ tàbí dúkìá míì tó ṣe pàtàkì sí oríṣiríṣi èrò ni ó gbọ́kàn rẹ̀ lójúnà àti rí dúkìá náà ta.
báwo ni màá ṣe oníbàárà báwo ni ó ṣe pè mí ǹjẹ́ mo lè fọkàn tán abánitalẹ̀ yìí ṣé kí n tiẹ̀ polówó rẹ̀ lórí rédíò ni tàbí lórí ìtàkùn ayélujára níbo ni kí n ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ ta ló lè ràn mí lọ́wọ́ báwo ni n ò ṣe ní bọ́ sọ́wọ́ alágbèédá ṣó tiẹ̀ yẹ kí n gbé dúkìá ilé àtilẹ̀ yìí tà mo sì nílò owó láàrin ọjọ́ méje.
ṣe sùúrù ọ̀rẹ́ wa, irú dúkìá wo ni wọ́n fẹ́ tà? Ilé ni àbílẹ̀ tó sì fẹ́ kó lọ ní kíá kó dòwó. Iléeṣẹ́ rédíò 32 FM pẹ̀lú àjọṣepọ̀ Soft Sand Property ti gbé àǹfààní bàǹtàbàǹtà dé. Bí o bá ní ilé àbí ilẹ̀ tó fẹ́ tà lágbègbè tó dùn wò pẹ̀lú ìwé tó jiná, máa bọ̀ wá sí 32 FM 94.9 Ìbàdàn. Ọ̀fẹ́ la bọ̀ polówó rẹ̀ tí yóò sì bàjẹ́ ní kíákíá. Ìfànláre o, tẹ àtẹ̀ránṣẹ́ tàbí pé
091-6461-5000 àti 091-1555-0055.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ló sì lè kàn sí www.softsandsproperty.com láti jẹ̀gbádùn àǹfààní yìí. Ìlànà àti àdéhùn wà o.
Soft Sand, òrùlé fún tẹrú tọmọ.
Ẹ̀yin fans mi. It's okay. Ẹ lọ sórí gbogbo ìkànnì ìbánidọ́rẹ̀ẹ́ ní 32 FM 949 fẹ̀yìn ẹ̀ àsáàpù. It's okay.
Ọmọ ti dé, ọmọ tuntun jòjòló, òkú oríire. Má jáfara o, gbọ́dọ̀ sọmọ lẹ́nu láàrin wákàtí kan àkọ́kọ́ tọmọ délé ayé láti fún un ní àkọ́kọ́ sí omi ọyàn aláwọ̀ òféèfé yẹn tí wọ́n ń pè ní kolostrum. Àkọ́kọ́ sí omi ọyàn kolostrum yìí ní gbogbo èròjà pàtàkì tọmọ rẹ nílò láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ ìlera pípé. Ó sì ń ṣèrànlọ́wọ́ láti dènà àrùn fọ́mọ rẹ. Rántí o, fọ́mọ rẹ lọ́yàn láàrin wákàtí kan àkọ́kọ́ tó o bímọ. Ìkéde yìí wá láti àkọ́ṣeṣẹ́ INT'L, iléeṣẹ́ tó ń mójútó ètò ìlera ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
Welcome back. The Podium on 32 FM 94.9. My name is OLORUNTOBA YUSUF. Remember, we're live on Facebook, 32 FM 949 Fenye. Please like, share, comment on that platform. So let's continue the conversation now. Barrister, very quickly, before we switch over to our guest for the day. You were trying to make a point about a question I asked before the break.
Yes, thank you very much, Toba. Now, what I was saying is, it does appear that the inherent contradictions of the capital mode of production are staring us in the face. That's one look at it. Now, look at the so-called leaders of the democratic world. The Democrats in America are promoting unnatural values like LGBTQ, abortion of fully formed children in their mothers. Republicans on the other side are promoting racism. Look at what is happening in Russia. No rational mind would have thought that the mode of Idi Amin, Kamuzu Banda, Paul Biya would appear in the West. But it appears to be what we are seeing in Russia, where one man has held sway for so long. Democrats all over the world are promoting unfree, unfair, and non-credible elections like we're having here in Nigeria. And then let me add this to it. Look at the dreams underlying the formation of the United Nations. The problems we sought to rectify under the League of Nations are back with us. The UN appears to have become a reflection rather than a solution to world problems. So I agree with OBJ. There appears to be a deficit, of leadership. The good of philosopher kings appears to have been long gone.
But the UN might argue, Barrister, very quickly that, one of the goals at the time was to prevent a third world war. As of now, well, apart from skirmishes we see in different regions of the world, have always been there. They've been able to so far prevent that third world war.
Well, it was not only about wars. It was also about mutual respect for one another. It was respect for sovereignty of nations. It was respect for the economic independence of nations, and so many other things that came with the United Nations. But if you ask me, we appear to have failed woefully in the achievement of those laudable dreams of our founding fathers, particularly with respect to the United Nations.
Right. Oh, okay. We'll get back to this conversation because it's very interesting. Yes.
Yeah, because I was going to raise a number of issues.
All right, Prof. Go ahead, Prof. Go ahead.
Yeah,
yes.
Because Barrister is talking about this period of early period of after the Second World War. I think the world was really at peak. Those were the period of decolonization, and immediately after decolonization in Africa, it was coup after coup, the killing of Pedro Lumumba in Congo and all of those places, the
war in Ghana.
I don't know why you think that things are significantly different. In fact, we're actually going to that point, but it's a very different discussion from the emergence of great leaders, because we have great leaders at that time. They were not necessarily also democratic. They were not necessarily also very accommodating to peace and security, especially in the South, in developing countries. Even though they were enjoying stability, they were still great exploitation. There was still apartheid in South Africa, which was supported by these people. So if we want to use that as a mark, I think that would be a different conversation. But Obasanjo's claim is really that there are no great leaders. And the point of where it's looking, what makes a great leader. So, for instance, somebody will say one of the greatest leaders we have in Africa today is Paul Kagame. So, some people will say he's not democratic, but does that make him less a great leader? Will you compare him, for instance, with Idi Amin? Will you compare him with
Paul Biya?
Lee Kuan Yew, or even the guy in Malaysia that transformed Malaysia, Ibrahim? Also, was he also a Democrat? Or what about Park in South Korea? These were great people who transformed their society. They were not necessarily Democrats. I think we should distinguish between when they discuss on great leadership from the general discussion on democracy.
Prof, it appears we've lost connection with you. Hello, Prof.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. Okay. I think we need to get back to this. All right. Barrister.
Toba,
Yes.
I don't think I will disagree with Prof. I see the end from where Prof is coming. I do not disagree with Prof, but I was just taking a general overview, of the mess we have found ourselves. So I disagree with the submissions of Prof.
Right. I mean, this is a very interesting conversation. There's a whole lot to unpack there. Maybe we'll get back to it later on in the course of the show. But let's quickly welcome our guests for today. Prince Abbas Ayodeji, election lawyer, the former chairman of the Association of Local Government Chairman Algon in your state. Thank you so much for joining us. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Great to have you, sir. Okay, let's get right into it. I mean, the issue of local government autonomy is still a burning one. We saw the Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, during the week saying that the federal government would take action against states that are, sort of foot dragging in implementing the ruling of the Supreme Court. But let me begin with the concerns have been raised about this ruling. There are concerns about how elections are conducted, the influence the governor has over the state electoral commission, and all of those things. So it's not making a lot of people as enthusiastic as they are supposed to be about this ruling. What are your thoughts?
Well, first and foremost, let me say that we have to give kudos to President Tinubu. He happens to be the only president in Eastern Day Nigeria to have that political will to actually do justice to the issue of autonomy at the local government level. Yes, the autonomy has come. He has done the right thing by approaching the Supreme Court. Because, you run democracy, this is not military rule. He approached court for interpretation. Court has done that. And having done that, there are a lot of other things, issues that will come up. And these are the things that the Senate is tackling now. Like the issue of, there is no way you see the way all the governors have rushed. All the governors have rushed to have
elections.
Their elections. Yeah. You will see that after the elections now, you will find out that all those people that you have at the local government level are those who are loyal to those governors. So for me, the very first thing that should happen is the fact that a general a body has been set up now by the Senate to have to be conducting election at the local government level. Like you have INEC, it's generally conduct throughout Nigeria, and that is in the process now. So if you have something like this, of course, the autonomy will come as is being expected. Because if you say autonomy, let the money go to all the local government directly, but the local government by proxy, all the elements or the people so elected, quote unquote, at the local government level, you will still see that they are the agent of the serving governor. So it will still border down to the same thing. But for me, the process has just started, and I think the president has started very well.
Right. So are you saying that there should be another commission based on what the Senate is trying to look at? Like there should be another commission aside INEC. So states electoral commissions should be scrapped, and that commission should be created that will oversee local government elections across the country. Yes.
State electoral commission will not work in this regard. And even before we discussing this morning, you will have noticed that the Senate is already in the process of having an electoral body that will be responsible for local government election. And that will be at the federal level. So there is no way any governor will be able to control such agency that will conduct election. So it will make it very easy, and we have free and fair election like we did in 1998-99, the first election that we had in Oyo State. Then we had AD, Alliance for Democracy, APP, then All People's Party. We had PDP. All these people won at different local governments. And it will interest you that the former governor, the late Akala, was a candidate under APP for Ogbomoso North. He won for Ogbomoso North. We had AD winning from other local governments, PDP also winning. That's a total departure of what we have now, where you have a ruling party just having everything, carrying all the local government or winning in all of the local governments. So that kind of situation that we had in 1998 is what we will have. You have true representation of what the election should look like. And that's the only way we can have the true autonomy as being postulated by the president.
Right. Okay. So we have Professor Remi Ayede of the Department of Political Science, University of Ibadan, on this discussion. He's one of our panelists. We also have Barrister Remi Ogunlola as well. So let me go to Prof. I want to get Prof's thoughts regarding having what the Senate is doing presently. And Prof, you also ask your questions from ask our guests your own question. Prof? Hello, Prof.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes. I think just on Thursday, we had a roundtable in Abuja on local government elections, and we had the president of Argon there. We had the chairman of CX from Kaduna, from Delta, from Adamawa, and a few others. Then we have a lot of people from INEC, and then from a number of NGOs that are interested in local government affairs. And we did a very thorough analysis of the situation. I can give you some basic data that before the Supreme Court judgment, only 14 states have elected local government chairmen. Between that July 11 judgment and now, we now have 31 states with elected local government chairmen. It shows that that decision was very vital. And one of the points that I emphasized at that meeting was the fact that the key decision that was responsible for that was the decision that any local government that does not have elected officials should not receive money from the federation account. If the Supreme Court had merely stopped at saying pay the money directly to local government without saying that those who do not have elected officials should not be paid, there wouldn't have been any difference. So I think that's very clear. Now, the current challenge is there are three options. I think comrades should be aware of that. The first is the one that you have talked about in the Senate. The second option, which has also been argued, in fact, Okoye, the former commissioner for voter education in INEC, emphasized that INEC should be given the responsibility because INEC, although not INEC, then it was NEC, actually conducted local government elections in 1997 and 1998. So it's not as if the national body has. So that's the option. The third option is that CX should be strengthened in terms of changing or emphasizing the provisions of the Electoral Act 2022, and then making additional amendments to strengthen the CX to do their job better in terms of their appointment, in terms of their structures, in terms of their funding, and so on and so forth. So these are the options on the table. Now, comrade, you have emphasized the first option, which is setting up a new national body to conduct election at the local government level, not INEC and not CX. And if you follow Toba's position for a long time, or I would say Toba's emphasis, maybe doesn't promote one position, it's really that if the federal government now take responsibility for local government election, where is federalism? So can we be talking about a federal system, a decentralized system, and then still be talking about local government election being conducted nationally by an organ that is controlled by the government? Because people think that the reason why this president is concerned about local government is because he wants to take control of the electoral process at the local level, so that he can manipulate the 2027 election. I think these are two questions that you need to look at.
All right, Prince Aleshinoe. Hello, Prince.
I'm with you.
Yes, Prof just asked you two questions. The first one about if there's a central body, like if a federal government appointed body overseeing elections at the local level, is that not dangerous to true federalism that we're supposed to be practicing? The second one is the perception that the president made this move as a political move as well to take control of the structure, if you like, at the grassroots level in preparation for the 2027 elections.
No. I want to disagree with that. We have we've all been crying that dividend of the democracy is not getting to the grassroots, and the only way is for this local government to have their autonomy. For example, if you are somebody or the local government, you should be able to do those things that will make the people at the grassroots feel your impact of governance. If you don't have your resources, you don't have your money, your allocation is not getting to you, how do you do it? That only local government is about 70% rural and about 30% urban. And you know that food that we eat is being hauled out from the rural area. Perishable goods, that you don't have good roads. A local government cannot grade the road. It cannot build silos for farming, for storage. It cannot help the farmers with buying tractors or giving them cooperative tractors for them to rent or hire. So if they can't do all those simple things, how do the word get to the grassroots? How do you reach the people, ordinary people at the grassroots, for them to be part of this democracy?
Hello?
So, having said...
Oh, we seem to be having trouble connecting with you. Prince? Hello, Prince? Oh, looks like the reception at your end is... Oh, okay. Let me go to Barrister while we try to reconnect with Prince then. Hello, Prince, can you hear me? Oh, okay. Barrister, I mean, how do you think the proposition that...
Oh, again, if you are looking, it's just simple comparison that we let add more.
Prince, I'm afraid we lost connection with you. We lost connection with you for like...
Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
I can hear you now. I can hear you now. We lost connection with you for about a minute there. Hello? Oh, all right. But Barrister?
Yes. Thank you very much, Toba. I want to especially thank Prof, for the last question he posed to our guest, because I am also in the same boat with him. Some doubt the sincerity of Tinubu in all of these issues relating to local governments. considering what he did to local government administration in Lagos State while he was governor. It is believed by some schools of thought that Tinubu, having pocketed INEC and the courts, I put that in quotes, this move with the local government, it appears to be an attempt by Tinubu to hijack the local government administrations from states in his bid to have a seamless return to power in 2027. So I also see it in light. By the time our guest comes back, because this euphoria is one that really beats the imaginations of people like me, people like who are observers of.
Oh, it appears we've lost connection with Barrister as well. Hello, Prof. Prof. Oh, okay. Right then. In case you just joined us on the podium on 32FM 94.9. Remember, we're live on Facebook, 32FM 949 Fenye. We're talking about local government autonomy and politics of grassroots development. Earlier on, we also tried to dissect a little the issue of the question of leadership across the world and even in Africa as well. Growing perception of leadership deficit and the ability of the current crop of leaders to bring the dividends of democracy to the people, making the people feel the impact of government. So while we try to reconnect with our panelists and our guests for today, let me take you back to Dr. Akinwumi Adesina while speaking at the birthday of the General Yakubu Gowon, the former military head of state, talking about development and what needs to be done here in Nigeria to tackle some of our problems, especially food insecurity. Take a listen.
Consequently, the criminal economy is upending the real economy of Nigeria. To address the situation, urgent and comprehensive efforts are needed to restore security and law and order, to protect lives, property and farmlands, and to restore normalcy to traumatized zones, towns, villages and communities, to stabilize and restore economic fortunes, education, health, social protection, and jobs for youth programs must be prioritized.
Toba,
Okay, Barrister.
I had gone up there.
We must decisively tackle.
Yes. Okay. Barrister. Yes. You went off. You went off. Welcome back.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yes.
I was saying that I am on the same page with Prof. On the last question he asked, because some doubt the sincerity of Tinubu in all of these issues. Hello,
can you hear me? I can hear you. I'm with you.
Oh, because I saw another call coming in. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yes, I was saying that I am on the same page with Prof on this issue of local government administrations. A lot of people doubt the sincerity of Tinubu, considering what he did to local government administration in Lagos State when he was governor. It is believed by some schools of thought that having captured, that's the word an analyst used some time ago, having captured INEC and the courts, this move with the local government appears an attempt by Tinubu to hijack the local government administrations from states in his bid to have a seamless return in 2027. And that probably explains why the governors are fighting back. And if you ask me, I think it is a case of putting the cart before the horse, considering the provisions in the Constitution that appears contra to what the executive is flashing before Nigerians through the Supreme Court judgment. Because wouldn't it have been better and tidier to have sent relevant bills to the legislature to amend the Constitution first, to rid it of all of those provisions that appear to run parallel to the intention of government relative to local government administration, particularly Section 7, subsection 1 of the Constitution, which subsumes, local government administration under the control of the state, particularly the House of Assembly. But today, you can see the so-called local government autonomy is neither here nor there, because the governors appears to have seen through the veil, and they are trying as much as they can to frustrate that move. But you look at the case of Oyo State, for instance. We had local government chairmen coming out and saying, no, whether Supreme Court judgment or no Supreme Court judgment, we remain loyal to our governor. So this problem is there. It has not been solved. So anybody who is celebrating this so-called autonomy of local government councils, is just deceiving himself.
Okay, we're still trying to reconnect with our guest. Well, I'd like to get your thoughts, Barrister, on... I'd like to get your thoughts, Barrister. Okay, maybe we'll have to go off the call and reinitiate it. Please, Barrister, please bear with us. We're trying to sort out the issue here. So when we reconnect with you and our guest and Prof, we'll continue the conversation. Meanwhile, I go back to the excerpt from Mr. Ǩ𝐈𝐒 Adesina's, message at the birthday of the military head of state, Yakubu Gowon. Take a listen.
The World Food Program estimates that 26.5 million Nigerians currently face acute hunger. This is a situation that's compounded by inflation that has risen to 32.1%. The Nigerian Economic Summit estimates that inflation in Nigeria reached a 28-year high in June of 2024. The current high level of food insecurity and hunger deserves decisive actions. In the first quarter of 2024, Nigeria's food import bill hit a 5-year high at 1.5 trillion naira. Nigeria's food import bill topped 7.8 trillion naira in the past 6 years alone. The African Development Bank Group and partners provided 314 million naira to Nigeria for emergency food production. I think that will have produced at least 4 million metric tons of food if that plan had been followed and implemented as agreed. Securing Nigeria's food supplies requires accelerating local food production, providing farmers with high-yielding seeds, the accessibility and affordability of fertilizers, mechanization, and the rapid expansion of irrigation, given the challenges of climate change. To ensure food security, the federal government, in conjunction with the state governments, should, in my humble opinion, return to the highly successful growth enhancement scheme and the electronic wallet scheme that was put in place when I was your Minister of Agriculture.
Well, we cannot be talking about grassroots development without also addressing issue of poverty, issue of food insecurity, and issue of lack of access to basic amenities for the people. So that's the essence of the excerpt of that message from Dr. Ǩ𝐈𝐒 Adesina. I think Prof and Barrister are back now, but we're still trying to reconnect with our guests. So, Barrister, I was going to ask you your thoughts on getting a separate commission aside INEC, aside the State Electoral Commission, to oversee local government elections in Nigeria. Barrister?
Well, I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Well, there seems to be like a background noise,
Oh, okay, good.
Okay.
Now, I don't know what impact. From my end, I don't know what is happening. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe it's your device, Barrister.
But is it okay now?
There's still that noise. There's still that noise there.
Is it okay? There's a scratching noise. Now,
there's a noise in the background. Maybe like a movement or something. Okay, let's go to Prof. Let's go to Prof now. Prof. I mean, a lot of issues raised there. He says the process can work, seeing how it worked in the 90s when the late Alao Akala became a chairman, different opposition parties won at the time. Having a separate commission can actually ensure transparency of the process at the grassroots level.
Well, I think we must look at the cause and effect relationship because fallacy of wrong attribution can be a problem. Because what we are talking about the conduct of election under military rule, where the kind of dynamics of policies that we are talking about did not exist. At that time, it was part of the transition under Abdul Salami, Abubakar, and under Abacha. I mean, the elections were in 1997 and then 1998. So you find all those problems. But by the time it got to 2002, where the state was supposed to conduct election, that's how they started vacillating. And we have this problem of dominance of caretaker committee or administrators at the local government level. I think these are the issues that we are trying to overcome. So the period that he's referring to does not sit very well with the issues that has been raised. Because now we're going to look at the body that we have, which is INEC, and the problem we have faced with INEC. And the question that has been raised is the question of a president who has vested interest in taking over the control of local government. That was not what we were dealing with in 1997, 1998. And we are also looking at the pedigree of that president. And then when you also look at the pedigree of INEC itself, you ask yourself, are we satisfied with the election of INEC? And then we want to. So we don't want to replace one problem with another kind of problem that we already know. That's actually the challenge. I think that he needs to provide an answer. Then lastly, we are talking about grassroots development. So is he telling us now that in the last 1 year, the welfare of the people has been fundamental in the priorities of this government? That the welfare of the people is the basic concern that is driving the policies that this government has been enacting since May 29, 2023. No, these are issues that if for somebody who has demonstrated concern about the welfare, then you say fine. Then go back to local government. Is it not the same president who was governor of Lagos State that didn't want the federal government, to interfere with his own affairs? He created LCDAs. Now, I hope you know that Lagos State government is trying to. There's a bill in the House of Assembly now trying to replace those LCDAs with administrative center, administrative units at the government level rather than LCDA. So when you look at these contradictions, you want to ask more fundamental questions. What is actually President Tinubu's interest in local government? If he wants to free local government, what is the best way to go about it? Should we allow the federal government to take over control of local government elections? Will he do things differently from what the governors are doing? Because what the governors are doing, and our fear is that what the president is doing is to wrest local government from the overwhelming force of state government and then use it to consolidate its own power. Now, I remember if you look at the direct allocation to local government under Obasanjo, we discussed this before.
Yes.
And we saw what local government did, especially with Argon. They were going to form a political party. They were going to the National Assembly to extend their tenure. So there are multiple options other than this one. That's actually the point. It's not that local government should not be empowered, strengthened. They should be. Because, for instance, I don't even agree with Yomi Ogunrola Barrister that local government should not be a third tier. The dynamics of Nigerian society requires that we consolidate local government as a third tier. And there are other arguments for that. So, but the point is, we don't want to replace state manipulation of local government with federal government manipulation of local government. We want to really give local government the kind of autonomy and strength that is required without necessarily pretending that it is the federal government that can protect it rather than the people. So we need to take power back to the local people, establish local governance and community governance rather than, handing over local government taking over local government from the state and handing it over to the federal government. I think we need to look for a middle ground that is practical, that will make local governments accountable rather than make local government beholden to the national government in its bid to undermine the powers of state government.
Right. But Barrister, I hope your connection is better now.
Yeah. Yes. Am I better now?
Yes, you're better now, sir. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
First, let me correct an issue, created by my noble prof. I did not support the idea of a two-tier federal system. My submission my submission was not in support. What I was saying was it is the document, the so-called constitution, is a bundle of contradiction. Because if you look at section 2, subsection 2, it appears to suggest a two-tier federal system. And then going further into the constitution, you find in the provisions relating to the sharing of federal allocations, it brings in the federal, the states, and local governments, suggesting that it is a tripartite federal system. So I was talking about tradition system. Now, we're going to the question that Toba asked concerning creating another body. For purposes of election. I want to crave your indulgence, to bring in clips, from a discussion that originated on the NBA Ibadan Forum a couple of days ago. Very, very interesting. It was between High Priest, that Doyebo, my very good friend, and Eze, popularly or AKA Other Confession. Odebo was raising issues concerning the inadequacy of the Constitution. But Eze's position was that whether a document was faulty or otherwise, it is the human element that operates it matter the most. And that if the human elements that operate a document are themselves lacking in the necessary virtues, then even the best documents will not work. That was what the argument was all about. Now, what I am saying is this. If you are talking about another body now, who are the people going to operate it? Are we going to invite them from Mars, or will we invite them from Jupiter? The reason why the ones we have now are not working is because of the absence of law enforcement. In an ideal situation, what transpired in 2023 elections with INEC ought to be a subject of a high-powered judicial panel to get at the root of the problems that we witnessed in 2023, and those who are found wanting are subjected to the rigors of the criminal justice system. But where people commit crimes and they get away with it, then what do you expect? So if people can do what they did with INEC, what stops them from doing the same things with this new body that you are bringing on? So what we need is where law works to reward merit and to punish wrongdoing. If we don't do that, go and take that document from heaven. It will not work.
Right. It appears we have our guest back, Prince Abbas Ayodeji, election lawyer. Welcome back. We lost connection with you for some time there. Welcome back. Can you hear me now?
Thank you for having me back. Let me say that I'm on the highway. I'm actually traveling. Like that. So probably that was due to loss in communication there. Yeah. So as I was saying, I agree with the last speaker, the man who just spoke now.
Yeah, barrister.
In actual fact, yes, if there is anybody that commit any offense that has to do with electoral practices, should be dealt with according to the law. It should be dealt with. I agree totally with you. If that is not done, what we are saying, we are not shying away from the fact that people who do any wrongdoing not punished the way it should be punished. If that is done, in all facets of our life, that should be the right thing to be done. But however, let me say that even it's far, far better. I just gave you an example of what transpired in 1998 when INEC as a body, a central body, was conducting election. So the power will not domicile on a particular governor on a governor that will make sure that you, when you have 33 local government and you have 33-0, and compare it to when we had 3 parties of AD, APP, and PDP. And you see AD winning about 15 local government, APP winning about 7, and we evenly distributed throughout the state. Based on your popularity, it is not based on your loyalty to a particular governor. So these are some of the things that I am raising. Okay. But however, I want to go in with the last speaker, that if any wrongdoing is found, that person must face the music. And that is the only way that you can entrench democracy also at the grassroots.
Right. Okay. I mean, the last time we had you here, about 6 or 7 months ago now, I really cannot remember the date. There was a burning issue of your back and forth with the state government. So where are you now regarding that? As the governor demonstrated a commitment to paying the money owed to remaining former LG executives, considering the statement that he made sometime last year during a media chat where he said that your group was doing forum shopping, getting all kinds of court judgment to compel the state government to pay the money. So where are you now regarding that impasse? Hello, did you get the question?
I got your question.
All right.
Yes. It has been sorted out that the governor has paid the money. Of course, what he's been paying it bit by bit, and the only aspect that is remaining is the all these other allowances. But ab initio, to be honest with you, what they told us was that they are going to pay the salaries.
Okay.
Even though the Supreme Court asked them to pay allowances and salaries. So for now, they have paid the outstanding salaries. So it's on. I think we don't have a problem with that. Again, we don't. I won't say there is any problem between us and the state government. Again, it is true. He said that he was not going to pay. That we are running from one court to the other, but eventually he agreed, and I think that's the most important thing. A lot of people actually made into 3 reasons why he should obey the court order, which I think there is no problem to that for now.
All right. Okay. So, Prince, I mean, let me just ask you: are you still a member of the Oyo State APC?
I am. I'm a bona fide member of APC. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm asking the question because I would like to know your position on the current situation of the country. You know, the current soaring inflation, cost of living crisis, and the fact that the hardship seem to be worsening on the people.
Yeah, I am a member of APC, and I want to tell you that nobody is that happy with the situation of things, the way things are in Nigeria today. But it is not today. It's not a problem of today. There is no way a country or an institution or a company will be using about 97% of its fund of resources to pay loan, to service loan, and pretending that you have everything. Especially when you look at the station of oil. We subsidize our oil, and we look at it. The cost of petroleum in Ghana is close to 2,000. In Cameroon, same thing. In Benin Republic, all the countries surrounding Nigeria. So, but because we are on subsidy, people find it very easy to move these products to other nations to make money. So, for me, this will have stopped years back. If you look at the clip by Lamido Sanusi when he was central bank governor, he has said he has predicted all this. But there is no leader. Nigeria has not had any leader to have that political.
Can you hear me?
We are feeling it.
Oh.
But the fact is that for us to have a better future and for the generation yet unborn, do more good.
Oh, Prince? Oh, Prince, it seems like we've lost connection with you again. Can you hear me?
Well, we are doing our thing now. I think the present government has done the very right thing.
Okay. They've done the right thing.
I can hear you very clearly.
Oh, all right. Because we lost connection with you.
Hello?
I can hear you now. We lost connection with you for some minutes there. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So what? Add that political will that this president has displayed. He's the only president that can come out boldly, to say that we have to tackle this thing head on. There is no way we will continue to live that kind of fake life and believe that we have tomorrow without mortgaging the future of our children or their generation yet unborn. So for me, but the only plea to the government is to find a way to make sure that this there is a palliative, a kind of a way to reduce the suffering of the masses.
Yeah, Prince, you're talking about
it's affecting us. We all know it's going to affect us. It's said it from day one. There is no way you do this kind of a thing that it will not affect everybody.
Yeah,
but the way we can go about it, like some of us who believe that fuel now, everybody is checking himself. The way you use fuel, the way you are going, how you fill your car. If you use 120,000 to fill your car, and now they have introduced CNG to us, so we need to diversify. And this man has put us in that direction. But the only thing I am appealing to federal government to is that the heat is much. If you look at the CNG thing now, it's very, very cheap. Yes, but Lagos to Ibadan now, you can have something like 1,000 for or maybe for between 1 and 3 or 4,000. So compared to you buying fuel of like 70,000, so they have started this process. It's going to be a gradual thing. But while this gradual thing is going on, the government will make sure that the heat is not much on the masses, the general, especially food situation. And that is why the president has started by making sure that the autonomy goes to the local government so that the wealth can go down. The people at the grassroots will feel government governance through the third-tier government.
Right. Prince, you said that the president is the only one that displayed the courage, over the years. But we remember, about 12 years ago, there was Goodluck Jonathan who displayed that courage as well, who wanted to take that decision. But members of your party at the time heavily opposed it with demonstration across the country. So do you think that if he had been allowed, as you are urging Nigerians to allow the president to implement these reforms now, do you think if he had been allowed, we would not have been dragged back? Because it looks like we were dragged back.
It was, in fact, it's a very clear, different thing entirely.
Okay.
Then there was nothing. This man has come with so many reforms that is accompanying this the removal of subsidy. He has come with so many reforms that will accompany this. The Jonathan government did not come out with anything. Did not come out with anything to make sure to complement or alleviate the situation.
But there was Shopee at the time. There was a Shopee program. There were buses distributed across the country at the time, to ease transportation. Because I remember Shopee was...
those buses were the buses...
Because you're mentioning CNG now.
Distributing now. The buses being distributed by the Tinubu government now. Are they on fuel? They are distributing CNG buses. You still have to move. It's like your cosmetic approach then that will not lead to anywhere. And the way, don't forget, at that time we had a lot of money. Nigeria was making money, which was going into different ways. So for me, I think it's a quite different thing entirely. But whatever, which way you look at it, the reality is on us, and this is the thing that has to be done.
All right. Let me go to Barrister.
We are in the middle of the water now, so we are almost getting over this.
Right. Let me go to Barrister now. Barrister.
Yes, I am so disappointed, with what the guest just said concerning the Jonathanian years. I was going to ask him, what are those things that Tinubu's government has put in place that he is talking about? But I want to clarify an issue that he raised before, before I come back to this issue. And that is that the rules that govern the operations or the administration of justice in Nigeria allows for negotiations before, during, and even after judgment of courts. I won a judgment for my client against the Oyo State government some time ago, and the court of appeal directed that we be paid a particular amount. But the government invited us to a meeting and pleaded with us that considering the paucity of their purse, we should accept a lesser sum. And that was what happened. We accepted a lesser sum and it was paid. So this idea of having obtained a decision at the Supreme Court level, it does not necessarily mean that everything that was said in that judgment, must be complied with. There can be an arrangement between the parties, like I think the Oyo State government's done with the Algon, and so that peace can. So that's about that. Right. But on this issue of what the gentleman was raising concerning things that have been put in place, I want to ask him what exactly Tinubu has put in place that Jonathan did not think of. What exactly has Tinubu put in place? Tinubu has made life worse for Nigerians. Tinubu's administration is killing Nigerians. He's making Nigerians commit suicide because he has nothing, absolutely nothing. What program is it that he is running, that gentleman is talking about? Removal of subsidy, when it is now very, very clear that subsidy is not our problem, but the corruption that is there. And yet today, everything is still on corruption. What has floating the naira done for Nigerian economy? An economy that is not producing and devaluing the currency. What an economy does that? So what exactly? That's what I want to ask him. What exactly has been put in place by this administration that makes it different from what Jonathan attempted to do in 2012?
Right.
This is like propaganda, nothing more.
All right.
It's propaganda.
Right.
We must not deceive Nigerians any longer.
Right. Okay, Prince, you want to respond?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think when he was talking, I thought he's an economist, not even knowing he's a lawyer. Well, having said that, I want to tell you that there is clear difference, and I said it, clear difference between the situation we had with Jonathan compared to what we have with Tinubu now. He said, what has he done? Part of it to complement this policy, the reform, because there is no reform that you do that will not come with pains. There is none. He's the only president that has that political will. Part of those things is to make sure that everything gets down to the grassroots, because we are making more money now. So that if the money being made is not allowed to get to those people at the grassroots, if it stops with the governors don't let this thing trickle down to the grassroots.
So, but is it trickling down now? Is it trickling down? That's the question. Is it trickling down?
Yeah.
Yes.
I
said, is the money trickling down right now? Because you said that it's putting measures.
You see, until when we have what we have been discussing, what is it that we've been discussing? We have been discussing the fact that the autonomy should come. The autonomy should come. It's not cosmetic autonomy. It's not saying that we have autonomy without backing it up with all those things that will make it work the way it should work. So
the autonomy is a silver bullet. The autonomy is a silver bullet in all of this. Is a silver bullet. I'm saying the autonomy is a silver bullet that would, make all this go away.
He said what?
I said the autonomy is the silver bullet, is the key to everything. That once we have the autonomy, the money will trickle down.
It's part of it.
Okay.
If you have autonomy, I have just told you now. I as a local government chairman, I can employ somebody that will be doing that will be collecting refuse. You localize it. If there is a local one, Mr. Lasisi, in your area that has a pickup that can do that at your local area, you engage him. You don't allow things to be controlled from the state. If you have a local, the local farmers in your local government, you can engage them. You can do right things for them within your allocation. So, but if you don't allow things to be done this way, and you concentrate power or money or funds in the hands of the governor, will continue to dance macabre dance and will be going around. That is just an aspect of it.
Okay.
The other aspect of it is that this CNG thing has never been pronounced. It has never been pronounced like this before. The government has come with it. Well, you can say that maybe the calculation of when they said they were bringing the buses and when we are having these things, maybe the thing did not come earlier. Early enough, I can agree with you. He has done that also. There are so many other things that we know that this man has been doing. Then I want to ask him, the lawyer, he should tell me if you are talking of the exchange rate now. Well, I will agree totally with you. That's another area where we have issues. But tell me, how much do they sell fuel in other African countries? Even in America, it's about $3 per liter. But when you now go for $3 per liter, just multiply it in naira. If you are talking of exchange rate, fine. I will agree with you that from there, how do we tackle the exchange rate? But for fuel,
okay, but Barrister,
let me.
Barrister, hold on. Barrister, hold on, please. Barrister, hold on. Barrister, hold on, please. Prince, please finish your thought. Yes.
Let me finish, please.
Yes.
So, you see, by the time they are giving these governors money, some of them are just using it to purchase dollars, to buy dollars. So, when they do these things, money is not getting down to the grassroots. And it's very unfortunate. That's why the autonomy is very, very important. Then, when you talk about the exchange rate, that is the area I want this government to do all they can to stabilize the naira.
Right.
Because if you look at the fuel everywhere, in Ghana it's close to 2,000. In Cameroon, same thing.
Okay, Prince.
And that is
Prince. I get you. I get your argument that fuel is cheaper in Nigeria. That's your argument. That presently fuel is cheaper in Nigeria compared to other countries. That's your argument, right? I get it. Yes.
Toba, please.
Okay, Barrister.
Let me just keep this.
Yes.
Let me just keep this in for Honorable Abbas. It is not a good thing, and you will not get a good result if you are comparing apples with oranges. You won't get a good result. The countries you are mentioning, America, for instance, go and look at the purchasing power of the people. Go and look at the purchasing power of the people.
You mentioned Ghana as well. You mentioned Ghana.
Yes.
Côte d'Ivoire.
Mention African countries. Look at all those countries that have the same.
African countries, African leaders are the same. African leaders are the same. They are listening to the dictates of the neoliberal organizations that are bent on taking the lives of Nigerians. Oh no! Hold on a minute.
There are even some differences.
Okay. Prof. Barrister. Prof.
In Nigeria,
we have to go on a break, Prof.
If a professor does an assessment,
Prof, we have to go on a break, sir. We have to go on a break, sir. So, Prof, Barrister, and Prince, please hold on. We'll go on a break. When we get back, we'll be looking at different angles to all the issues on the table. We'll be back in a moment to Podium on 32 FM 94.9. Don't go away.
Feel better about your life.
32 FM 94.9, the antidote to depression.
àbẹ́ ò rí nǹkan ẹ̀bùn pàtàkì látọ̀dọ̀ Ọlọ́run lọ́mọ jẹ́ fáwọn òbí tómi ọyàn sì jẹ́ ẹ̀bùn Ọlọ́run fáwọn ọmọ ó ní gbogbo èròjà aṣaralóore pẹ̀lú omi tọ́mọ rẹ nílò fún oṣù 6 àkọ́kọ́ máa fọ́mọ rẹ ní ọyàn nìkan rántí o omi ọyàn nìkan fún oṣù 6 àkọ́kọ́.
ìkéde yìí wá láti àkọ́ṣeṣẹ́ INT'L iléeṣẹ́ tó ń mójútó ètò ìlera ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́.
Dear landed property owner, what if we told you that you could reach out to a radio station to sell your choice of landed properties without paying for adverts? You must think it's impossible, right? And not just any radio station, a radio station with millions of listeners, so your property can be sold as quickly as possible. Stop doubting. Thomas, or what's your name again? 32FM The Laughter Station, in partnership with Soft Sands Property, is bringing this offer to you. Yes, if you have a house or land in a choice location with appropriate titles and you want it advertised on 32FM 94.9 Ibadan for quick sales and without paying a kobo, you can call or send a message to this number 0911-5550-055, 0916-461-5000. Also, you can visit www.softsandproperty.com to express your interest. Terms and conditions apply.
Soft Sands, created to house the world.
I'm in love, Sonia tomato mix, stand up. Is it to open? Is it to squeeze? Is it to scoop? And is it to stir?
Sonia tomato mix in a new stand-up pouch.
My kids love tasty snacks, but many snacks are not so good for them. That's why I love the new Milo Anna snacks.
We love it, Mom.
Yes, it's a delicious snack with the goodness of malt, milk, cocoa, and crunchy Niger-grown maize containing calcium, iron, and fiber.
So, pack Milo and snacks in their lunchbox every day to help your kids refuel at break time and keep winning all day. Milo, energy to go further.
Milo. Ẹ̀yin fans mi. It's okay. Ẹ lọ sórí gbogbo ìkànnì ìbánidọ́rẹ̀ẹ́ ní 32FM 949 fẹ̀yìn ẹ̀ àsáàpù. It's okay.
Ẹ̀kọ́ dára púpọ̀, ẹ̀kọ́ ló láyé táwa yìí sẹ́.
bó ti jẹ́ ẹ̀tọ́ gbogbo ọmọdé jákèjádò àgbáyé láti jàǹfààní ètò ẹ̀kọ́ tó yè kooro. èyí ló mú kájọ kan tórúkọ rẹ̀ ń jẹ́ Global Partnership for Education pẹ̀lú àtìlẹ́yìn báńkì àgbáyé ó máa ṣakitiyan láti mú àdínkù bá iye àwọn ọmọ tó ń rìn kiri láìsí nílé ẹ̀kọ́ láwùjọ wa pẹ̀lú àfọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ iléeṣẹ́ ìjọba tó wà fún ètò ẹ̀kọ́ ìmọ̀ sáyẹ́ǹsì àtìmẹ̀rọ nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ tí wọ́n fi ṣàgbékalẹ̀ ètò tí wọ́n pè ní Better Education Service Delivery BESDA Additional Funding láti rí i pé gbogbo ọmọ tó wà nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ló lọ sílé ẹ̀kọ́ láì fi tẹ̀yà tàbí tẹ̀sìn ṣe. ọ̀rọ̀ ń wá kò sọ́wọ́ yín ẹ̀yin òbí àtàlágbàtọ́ láti rí i pé ẹ forúkọ àwọn ọmọ yín sílẹ̀ láwọn ilé ẹ̀kọ́ ìjọba jákèjádò ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ nítorí pé ogún rere kan pàtó tá a lè fọmọ wa ní kájọ́ jàǹfààní ètò ẹ̀kọ́ tó péye. á jèrè àwọn ọmọ wa o. àmín. olùkéde àjọ Global Partnership for Education pẹ̀lú àjọṣepọ̀ iléeṣẹ́ tó rí sí ètò ẹ̀kọ́ nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́.
ṣé ilé ni dúkìá tó fẹ́ tàbí ilẹ̀ tó sì wọ́ láti polówó rẹ̀ lórí rédíò láì ṣe wàhálà kankan? gbọ́ mi, ìwọ gan-an ni àǹfààní bàǹtàbàǹtà yìí wà fún. ìkànnì yín tẹ́ fẹ́ bí ojú ni 32FM 94.9 Ìbàdàn àti iléeṣẹ́ atalẹ́talẹ̀ tó lóókọrin láwùjọ Soft Sands Property lójúmọ̀ gbé àǹfààní tí ò wọ́pọ̀ yìí kalẹ̀. kì í ṣeré o, à ń fi àsìkò yìí ké sí ẹni fẹ́ talẹ́talẹ̀ pẹ̀lú ìwé tó múnádóko láti wá polówó rẹ̀ lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́ ká sì bá ta lórí rédíò ní kíá. ẹ̀rí pé yìí pọ̀ àǹfààní àti bá yín ta ilé àbí ilẹ̀ yín lórí rédíò ní kíá láì láyín lò oògùn kankan. ẹ̀yẹn sá ti kàn sí wa. ojú ọgán ni dúkìá yín ó jẹ́ títà fún àtẹ̀ránṣẹ́ àbí ìpè.
091-6461-5000 àti 091-1555-0055.
tàbí www.softsandsproperty.com láti jẹ́ alábàápín àǹfààní yìí. àdéhùn àti àsọtẹ́lẹ̀ wà o.
Soft Sand òrùlé fún tẹrú tọmọ.
Ìwọ náà kọ́ Ọlọ́run ọba màmá ni wọ́n ń pè wọ́n ní ìwọ ni.
Ọlọ́run ló ní orí bẹ́ẹ̀. Bẹ́dùmarè bá gbàdúrà ẹ̀dá tọ́ra àánú gbà lórí sàṣẹlà. Tí Kọ́lá Olóòtú òsú olùgbọ́. Tí ó sì di jàkùtẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ olólùfẹ́. Tètò rẹ̀ ò sí rẹ̀yìn. Tó ń fojoojúmọ́ peléke. Àjọ̀dún ogójì ọdún Mágàjí Kọ́lá Olóòtú lórí afẹ́fẹ́. Yóò rin kínkín. Tọ̀tẹ̀ yìí mú òbítíbitì ẹ̀bùn dání. 5 million naira ti wà nílẹ̀ kàbàtà. Fún gbogbo olùkópa lọ́jọ́ ayẹyẹ. Ní gbàgede Jọgọ́ Center n'Íbàdàn. Níbi tí wọ́n ti yí koto. Opportunity tó ga yàtà ń bẹ ni pé Ankara ni tíkẹ́ẹ̀tì. Ìwọ náà wo àwọn ẹ̀bùn tá a fi ṣèfàjẹ́. Tá a ti gbé kalẹ̀ tí mí fúkẹ́. First prize 1 million naira. Second prize plọ̀tì kan ọkùnrin kan plọ̀tì kan obìnrin kan. Third prize 500,000, fourth prize 400,000, fifth prize 300,000 naira, sixth prize 250,000 naira, seventh prize 150,000 naira, eighth prize 100,000 naira. Àtàkàmọ́yé ẹ̀bùn gbàmábínú Jọgọ Center ní Ìbàdàn lálọ́ Súlẹ̀ Àlàó Màláíkà lélẹ́rẹ́ wa àǹkárá ti wà nílé Adésùn Yemẹtu nílùú Ìbàdàn nílé Mágàjí Kọ́lá Olóòtú Òjé Ìbàdàn kò ràǹkárá kò wọlé kò jẹ̀bùn la fi ṣe Kọ́lá Olóòtú o ìwọ tó ṣe tọdún yìí ó sọ̀pọ̀ ẹ̀ láyé raṣọ aṣọ ní tíkẹ́ẹ̀tì àǹkárá ń tán lọ o ṣàǹfààní ojú kejì.
I'm in love, Sonia tomato mix, stand up. Is it to open? Is it to squeeze? Is it to scoop? And is it to stir?
Sonia tomato mix in a new stand-up pouch.
Láti dènà àrùn ìgbẹ́ gbuuru àti àrùn mìíràn pàápàá nínú àwọn ọmọdé fọ ọwọ́ rẹ pẹ̀lú ọṣẹ àtomi tó ń dà ṣooro ní pàtàkì jùlọ tó o bá lo ilé ìgbọ̀nsẹ̀ tán lẹ́yìn tó bá ti ṣàǹdí fọ́mọ tán kó o tó ṣe oúnjẹ ọmọ rẹ tàbí kó o tó fún un lóúnjẹ àti pé o tí ọmọ rẹ bá ní àìsàn ìgbẹ́ gbuuru fún un ní oògùn oníwóró zinc lẹ́ẹ̀kan lójúmọ́ àti ORS ní wákàtí mẹ́rin tàbí kí ẹ máa fún díẹ̀díẹ̀ nínú ife èyí á jẹ́ kọ́mọ rẹ lè ní ìdápadà omi ara àtokun. Bákan náà yọjú sílé iṣẹ́ ètò ìlera tó bá súnmọ́ ọ jùlọ láti gba ìtọ́jú fọ́mọ tó ní àìsàn ìgbẹ́ gbuuru.
Ìkéde yìí wá láti àkànṣeṣẹ́ INT'L iléeṣẹ́ tó ń mójútó ètò ìlera ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
Welcome back, 32 FM 94.9. The program is The Podium. Our guest is Prince Iyadéji, election lawyer, former chairman of Oluyole local government. We've been talking about grassroots development, local government autonomy, and issues of the current economic policies of the administration. Remember, you can join us 2FM 949 for you. Drop a comment, like, share on that platform. Okay. It appears Prince is not with us. We'll try and reconnect with him. But let me go to Prof now. Prof, you were trying to make a point about the comparison made by Prince to other African countries about how fuel is, more expensive there. I know of Côte d'Ivoire, I know of Senegal as well, because I've been there, of fuel being more expensive, even before now. But I'd just like to get your thoughts, your reaction to the comparison he made.
My reaction is to say that the comparison is incomplete. You have to also compare salaries or the level of wages across these countries to have a clearer picture of what we are talking about. I mean, you can't compare wage levels, for instance, in Kenya that I'm very familiar with wage levels in Nigeria. An average professor, for instance, in Kenya earns about between 1.5 million to 2.5 million in the universities there. If you go to Uganda, you find the same thing. So if you go to, for instance, in Ghana, if you assess a PhD thesis, they pay you between $250 to $300. If you assess that in Nigeria, they pay you 50,000 naira. Compare the two, the difference. So you can't pick one indicator without balancing it out. Now you look at he talked about using 120 to fill a car, and the minimum wage is 70K. Now you look at those who are working in government today, they are living in penury. In fact, there's a video, this thing going viral now, about a head teacher in one of the schools. I'm not sure whether it's in Oyo State or who could not afford a house, and most of the schools most of the teachers in that school are hanging out in something that a makeshift build structure that looks like a hostel, where there are no ceiling and water and mosquito killing them, and they are using tattered mats to sleep on the floor because that's what their wages could afford. Now that's the kind of situation we are in Nigeria today. If you put that side by side with the policies of Tinubu, what you get is a situation where things have totally broken down. Even within our university here, the salaries are so depressed that people can't come to work every day regularly. So can you still say you are running an institution in that mode? So that's the kind of crisis we are in, which is not addressing. Let him go to schools in Oyo State. Ask them, all those people who were originally employed. That's why you see the government is employing new people. Teachers that were originally employed 2 or 3 years or 5 years ago, they've all abandoned the job and gone elsewhere. because the 50,000 naira that they were being paid can't even afford them to transport themselves from their houses to school, not to talk of going to reporting in the school to teach students. So I think there's a crisis that these government supporters are closing their eyes to. Survival and working has become meaningless. Salaries can't take people to their working place, not to talk of getting them to sit down to work. People are perpetually concerned about what they will eat because their salary cannot even feed them, not to talk of feeding their children. These are the problems we are talking about. They could increase the fuel price to at any level. As long as Nigerians can at least afford a minimum, the minimum needs required for existence, we will not be shouting and crying. So he talks about the political will. What I see there is the political ill will to inflict pain and carry on with the pretense that you are governing. So I think this is the thing we need to address, because there are real life situations.
I don't know, Prof.
Yes.
If you will permit me, sir, to come in to bust the point made. You see, I feel very sad when I see people come out with this false pride, this grandiose or affectedly genteel delusion about what Tinubu is doing. In 2023, data that was made available to the public from the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria indicates that 767 manufacturers shut down. Shut down. 335 became distressed. And all their inventories, unsold inventories, runs into 350 billion naira. The policies are, these policies are, in my view, seminal. They are not seminal. And then we have somebody who now come here and be telling us all of this sugar-coated things. Nothing good come out of these policies.
Barrister. Let's look at the CNG.
Yes.
The CNG buses, where are they? When were they imported into this country? And how many are they? And distributed where? I don't understand. Because they say to convert it to CNG. Do you go to a mechanic and say convert my car to CNG, and he will just do it for you, and you go home and then there are CNG outlets all over the place where you can fill it. All these things, this kind of transition, it's a transition process from petrol run vehicles to CNG. It takes time, it takes years for you to be able to do that. Look at the explosion that happened somewhere in Lagos. You can't just convert all those things like that. Where's the expertise?
Prof, I don't know, sir. If you have heard the news about the IMF extricating itself from this issue of subsidy removal, the IMF, it has nothing to do with subsidy removal. So, in other words, it is an economic policy that Tinubu brought himself. That is what it's trying to be now. That he is the one beating the drum and dancing to it. I don't want it with us.
Campaign now. Reduce the purchasing power of the people.
Right.
Slow down.
Reduce.
Let him say that.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Let's take some reactions on Facebook. Babatunde Adebayo says fuel in America is between $3 to $3.5 per gallon. That's 4 liters, and not $3 per liter, as said by Honorable Abbas. Other African countries is comparing don't have crude oil like Nigeria. Rejuvenation of refineries is the solution, as the Minister of Petroleum should answer queries to the non-functioning of our refineries after 18 months. Okay. Akinbayo Joshua Ayodeji says this man should stop insulting Nigerians. All they know is that they are making more money, but forgetting that more money with lesser value. And you will agree that these people have a forum where they share information, and that's why when you engage them, they find, you find them because they are sharing propaganda. I think that's what you're trying to say there. Anyway, Yinka Samuel says we have to be sincere with ourselves here. It's saddening to hear the prince highlighting Tinubu's intervention to elevate the suffering of the masses. The rule of the thumb is that you first put measures in place before implementing policies. It is wrong to commence your intervention after removing the fuel subsidy. The intervention should have been made a pilot study should have been made for its feasibility. It is clear that the masses are suffering, and any reasonable government will not put the masses through such ordeal. Let me see if he's back with us. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. I would have wanted him to react to some of... Yes, Barrister, please.
Toba.
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much. You see, there was an expert that was interviewed weekly, and he was questioning the new pump price of PMS. He was asking a question that let the government go and do a proper assessment. What is the cost of producing a liter of PMS? According to him, from a barrel of oil, so many derivatives can be derived from a barrel of oil, not only PMS, and that the government can make a lot more from a barrel of crude oil, selling those derivatives, rather putting everything on PMS, and that this government is not being sincere with Nigerians. And I want to agree with him. How much have you heard anybody talk about derivatives that come from a barrel of crude oil? What are they doing with it? How can the government come out and just do open the door to market forces? Let market forces prevail, and then you are the ones who are coming in again to come and determine the price where to be sold for. Before Dangote came on board, they came out with 800 and something naira per liter. And then just about 2 days before Dangote released its first locally produced PMS into the market, they came out again to fix the price of 1,025. To me, it appears Nigerians are the ones subsidizing this government now. They have liquidated our public treasury, and now they need money to run the government, and they feel it is the people who pay that money. That is what appears to be happening now.
Right.
We are subsidizing this government.
Right. Okay, 0705 5000 949, 0829 7000 949, 0906 2000 949. Those are the numbers to call. You can also join us via Facebook, 32FM 949 for here. Hello, good morning. Hello. 0705 5000 949. Okay, Prof, I'd like us to go back to, hello. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Hello?
Hello, good morning. I can hear you.
Good morning.
Yes.
Sorry, my name is Mkule.
All right.
I'm calling from Ibadan, Apata, actually.
Yeah.
I want to commend what the barrister Yomi, what he said earlier. I think this APC, the way I see them, right from the Buhari era, I don't know how to put them in a word, because if I say they are a misfortune party coming into the country, they are really a misfortune party, because right after Jonathan left and then they came in, everything has been done. Coming to this government also, everything has been done. So they are just a propaganda party, actually.
Right. Hello. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
This is John Omarwaji. I'm calling from Ogupa.
Right. Go ahead, please.
I agree with the doctor and the professor. I totally agree with their submission. Honestly speaking, I do not disappointed from the comments of Prince, because things happen to be very bankrupt APC political member, APC member. So definitely I do surprise of what is coming out from Prince, the mouth of Prince. So that's how it's supposed to be seen. Only you will see a party man that will say the truth. Only you will see them. And the worst part of it is that we are all into this problem. So they should know they that this thing is affecting them seriously. But as to come out in the public like this to say the truth, it's like they were betraying their party. That's how it is to them. But for we as the masses, we will keep on saying the truth so that the government will be hearing our voice that look, there is no of your policy that are suitable to the people. It's like it's all to put somebody into the hot water. So that's how the policies of this government look like. So there is no any one of his policies that good and better for the Nigeria. If the government is continuing with this policy, honestly speaking, I don't know where Nigeria will end to after 4 years.
Right.
Let's say no, the second time. This first time alone, I don't know where he's driving Nigeria to. Thank you and good morning.
Thank you so much. 0705 5949 089 7949. Shitu. Okay, let me take this before they comment. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, morning. Please move away from your radio.
So, my name is Olusegun. I enjoy your program.
Thank you, sir.
You don't expect truth from the mouth of a politician. About from a company. If you don't expect things from what you are just saying. Why? The politician will look for fact before they started commenting. Because you don't get the view of intelligence of politicians at all. Then they go get out with intelligence of look for fact before you come to it because to say this is and now. Many saying in Nigeria. I work in
I'm afraid the line is also clear.
5 times from Monday to Friday. But they can't afford the transport and most of all.
Sir, the line is also clear. The line is also clear. Maybe you should call us back. We can't hear you. There's a bit of distortion there. Okay, let me take this. Hello. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. I can hear you.
This is the Sheriff calling from Ikoloji.
Welcome, sir.
Hello.
Welcome. I can hear you. Go ahead, please. I can hear you.
I want to please tell the federal government that they should stop this propaganda. For 8 years, we had President Muhammadu Buhari, and nothing he accounted for. Everything he said the PDP did, they are doing worse than that, sir. And people should not come online and on air and tell us that we should manage, we should strive. School fees is astronomical presently. To eat a daily meal for a family of 2 or 3 is over 5,000 naira. Not to talk about the epileptic power supply in Nigeria. Please, they should not let us take laws into our hands because when you push a goat to the wall, it has nothing to do but to fight back.
Right.
What is the employment rate in Nigeria? We are producing something in our country and you are telling us it has to be paid in dollar. They are buying the products in naira. They are paying the workers in naira. And when it's time for the product to be sold to the masses, they are saying we should have to take market forces. They should please look at it. We are not taking anything from this world. They should just let their conscience prick them and know we only have one country. Even though their children can school abroad, their children does not have the basic rights of the countries that they are staying. They will always come back here and know that they are Nigerians. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
This is Okwene from Makubo.
Right, go ahead.
You see, my take about this inflation rate is that if the government could focus on the exchange rate, now 10 years, 20 years does not have value again. Had it been like before, I think the economy would have boosted even more than this. It is not about a million coin. They should put into action into our economy. See our naira, it has disvalued. What are they going to do about it? They need to be proactive about it because the agricultural sector also, it has actually been disturbed. No sector in this country that is working. How can they work? It is not by reducing the vehicles that the ministers or the governors are using. It is about them focusing on the economy. Thank you very much.
Right, thank you. Shitu Adio says, emotions do not run a country. Prof and Barrister need to understand that Nigeria cannot continue with the subsidies. Simple. We do not have the money. In addition, Nigeria has been unproductive because of subsidies in the key sectors of power and energy. Government need to completely get out of this energy businesses to make the sectors more profitable for private businesses if we want this country to move forward. He says the minimum wage of 30,000 most states could not pay. Can you compare that to the number of states that have agreed to pay 70K and more in the last 2 weeks? The policies are yielding results, and it will be very good for the country in less than 5 years. The policies are difficult, but there are no other options at the moment. Okay, thank you so much, Shitu Dio, for your message. Hello.
Hi, good morning. It's Yinka calling. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir. Morning.
Yes, good morning. It's Yinka calling from South Africa. I just want to comment on Honorable Abbas's input. You see, we actually need to have some conscience when we're making some statements, especially when it comes to the welfare of Nigerians, right? The average Nigerian might not really care about whatever policies that we're making. At the end of the day, it all boils down to, do I have food on my table? Do I have security? And this government has done nothing to actually assist Nigerians in that regard. The livelihood of Nigerians should not be subject to experiments. You need to know if it's going to work or not before implementing policies, right? So, and it's really, really sad that at this stage, and considering what Nigerians are going through, politicians can actually come out boldly and make such statements. It's really, really sad to hear that. Thank you so much.
Right, thank you. Emmanuel Lilap says, good morning in the studio. The way our federal government is so nonchalant is bad. They should be proactive in security. State police is important to have maximum security in the land. Let me take this call before we wrap up. Get our final thoughts. Hello, good morning.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, I'm calling from good morning.
Morning.
The panel is quiet again. Now, one thing I found very ridiculous is that
Mr. Jide, the line is breaking. Can you hear me? Hello? Oh, I'm afraid we can't hear you. Do call us back. Prof and Barrister, we're about wrapping up now, but I'd just like you to react to one or two comments here. Can you hear me, Prof?
Yeah, but
yes.
Shitu has just restated Tinubu's position.
Yes.
There's no alternative. Remember, when they started structural adjustment, the slogan was thinner. There's no other alternative. There's no alternative. Yeah. And everybody said, look, there's alternative even to death. The alternative is life. The alternative to life is death. So there's nothing that does not have alternative. That was the argument at that time. So all these problem statements they are making, they are not new. It's a rehash of policies that have been tried, not only in Nigeria, but elsewhere, that have failed. The only reason is the political ill will with which this government is bent on persecuting.
And Prof, he also makes an argument of, more money coming in now. He says when it was 30,000 at the minimum wage, many of the states could not pay. But now,
the value of 30,000 was higher than the 70,000 naira they are talking about now. It's looking at the nominal value, but the real value of 30,000 is far higher than the value of 70,000 naira today.
No, Prof.
Yeah.
Let us ask that gentleman who wrote in. Which money is he talking about that is coming in? Which money is he talking about? The loans they are obtaining?
Exactly.
Is it the loans they are obtaining? Where is the money coming in from now?
The increased FAC allocation.
The taxes they are extracting from Nigeria, squeezing Nigerians to death.
More money to the state government.
Where is the money coming from?
Barrister, more money to the state government from FAC allocation. I guess that's what he's talking about. That's
what I'm saying. Which money is FAC spending?
It's very strange.
Because you are just wait now. They will go into their 70,000 naira anytime soon, and the reality will stare everybody in the face. Because as far as I'm concerned, we are coming back to the days of salaries not being paid for months and so on and so forth. It's coming. Because where is the money coming from? I just gave you the statistics. What came from Manufacturers Association of Nigeria? 767 manufacturers shut down. 335 became discharged. Many more looking for a way to escape from Nigeria. So where will the money come from?
The money is not even good for business. The current policies are not good for business. That's the point.
Exactly. So if
you are removing subsidy to make it easy for the business,
can you imagine which business?
Right.
Look at a place. A place like China, a place like Singapore, and some of these emerging giants. The foundation of their success is the micro, small, and medium enterprises.
Absolutely.
In Nigeria, all the micro, small, and medium enterprises are in band Z for their electricity distribution. They have taken band A to 𝐒𝐼𝐒, 𝐒𝐿, banana, and where people are just luxuriating.
Exactly.
Know? So many of these micro and medium enterprises are collapsing. Our children are becoming Okada riders. And you are saying the economy is working, money is coming in. Where is this money coming from? It is an illusion. Like I said earlier, it is nothing but false pride. When you hear people like that gentleman you mentioned his name, who wrote that, it is false pride. It is grandiose delusion to be thinking that this dead non-seminal policies are going to do it. Go on what is happening. Prof, I was discussing with a couple of my friends not too long ago. Yes. Argentina, Pakistan, Mexico, Ghana, Gambia, they are suffering the same fate. In Pakistan today, they have started approaching other financial institutions outside the Bretton Woods institutions for loans to pay the ones that they are owing Bretton Woods institutions. None of them have been able to balance themselves. And somebody is saying all of this trash on radio.
Okay, barrister, we cannot call it trash. We cannot call it trash, barrister. Barrister,
please, pardon my use
we cannot,
of that word.
Because at the end of the day,
I was just angry.
Yes, I understand.
I
understand, barrister. I understand. At the end of the day, it's a democracy, and opinions will vary no matter what. No matter the kind of government policy, opinions will vary for and against. There's no straight answer to it. We all, look but see differently, and we're going to interpret it based on our own opinion, just like you stated your opinion regarding these policies presently. So we cannot say it is trash. Anyway, let me.
Yes, that's okay.
Yes, thank you, barrister. Thank you, barrister. Babalola Bukola Emo says, I was not surprised with the comment of the prince. The masses will rise against them one day. Our final call. Hello.
Hello, Mr. Toba, good morning. I'm calling back from Mokola. Now, good morning to Barrister and Prof. Now, I find it ridiculous to believe that someone can come out this season to come and defend a unbendable policies of President. Even President Tinubu himself cannot. He has not come out in the last almost 2 years now to defend himself. He has been running away from media chat. The question is going to be asked him directly. But he has even let him put the people from TVC or the Nation there. They are still going to ask questions. And there's going to be a phone-in program. The man has been virtually running away from direct questions. He has done absolutely nothing. So, some people now come out and be defending what is not valuable. They are defending removal of subsidy. When we know subsidy has been paid since August last year. And we are not saying the subsidy should not be removed. What we are saying is that there should be there should be a plan, a program. They have all these things that they are doing just an after thought. They have nothing on ground to complement the removal of subsidy. And they say the money has increased in our allocation. If, for example, another company that produces one for Nigeria is making $2 million 4 years ago, and now that $2 million will be multiplied then by 400 naira. But now it's going to multiply by 1,600. Won't there be increase in naira? I beg. Good morning.
All right, good morning. Okay, we're wrapping up now, Barrister and Prof. Prof, this is the same story as Barrister mentioned across several African countries. Ghana, Ethiopia, even Uganda, with Yoweri Museveni being there for so long. The economic situation is almost the same as Nigeria. If you also look at the ones where they don't have sit-tight leaders, it's almost the same thing as well. So we've seen a situation where those who are sit-tight leaders have not been able to get it right. Maybe perhaps some would argue that, except Paul Kagame, but he also has some kind of debt restructuring is negotiating with this various institutions. So look at it on one side, the sit-tight leaders. Things are not moving well economically. Those who are having elections year in, year out, like Ghana, like Senegal, things are not moving as well for them. So what exactly is the problem here, Prof? As a wrap up, very quickly.
The values of governance. The Ghanaians have said that when they were trying to see how they will manage their oil, they said Nigeria is the last place they will go. But as it turned out, they said their politicians have borrowed a leaf from Nigeria. And Ghana has increasingly become created politically in the image of Nigeria. So one of the things that is common with all of these countries is lack of accountable government, massive corruption, and spread of incompetence. And you find that across many African. It's really unfortunate. But even then, the condition is not equally bad across African continent. Some of them may have even reacted worse than Nigerians have in terms of demonstrations and all of that. But those countries, if you go to those places, cost of quality of life is even far, far better than what we have in Nigeria. I've been to some of them. You can check the indicators. In fact, that is why the recent Mo Ibrahim index put Nigeria as one of the fourth most poorly governed countries in Africa. The bottom four, Nigeria is there. Ghana is not there. All those other countries are not there. But Nigeria is listed as one of the fourth worst governed countries in Africa.
Right. Let me go to Barrister. Final thoughts why Africa is like this, based on the last line of thought of Prof.
Thank you very much, Toba. Toba.
Yes.
Humphrey Nwosu, the former chairman of INEC, went to die in America. What is this second Republic politician? One of the frontline members of that government. This one from somewhere around Delta,
Joseph Wires.
Joseph Wires. He has been dead for so long that for a long time now, to bring back his dead body safe now. The President Muhammadu Buhari, all through his administration, he was going on medical tourism. And the new president that has come in, he has been going on working vacation to London and France to refill. What does that tell you? Does that tell you a working economy? So those of us who cannot afford to go on medical whatever outside the country, we should die. We should die. And yet these people are spending our money. They are spending our money to go abroad and take medical care. They are spending our Nigeria's money that they have made unavailable to the citizens. It's not working. These people are not working. These people don't know what they are doing. These people are people who cannot govern their houses.
Right.
Look, if I open my mouth and tell you what I know about some of these people, you will cry that they are occupying these offices.
Right.
They cannot govern their houses.
We have to go. We have to
and so you can see the mess they are making of the nation.
We have to
Most unfortunate.
We have to go, Barrister. We have to go. Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Barrister. Thank you to the callers and those who dropped comments on our social media page. It's been a very interesting conversation on the podium this morning. Thank you to my producer, 𝐒𝐈𝐒. My name is OLORUNTOBA YUSUF. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Join us again on Saturday next week, 9 a.m. to 11, right here on 32 FM 94.9. Bye for now.